Hello everyone, welcome back to the series of AWS interview questions. Today we are going to discuss another interesting AWS question which is related to AWS security design. So let's look into the question first. So let's look into how the least privileges work in AWS. The interview question is, how do you design permissions in AWS? Most AWS candidates don't fail because they don't know AWS services like S3 or Lambda. They actually fail because of AWS security design. In interviews, people confidently attach Amazon S3 full access, administrator access, wildcard permissions without thinking about real world risk. This is exactly why engineers are rejected in senior cloud roles because they build things that work but are unsafe. In this video, I will explain the most important AWS security principle, the least privilege, with real production example that you can confidently use in interviews. So the least privilege means giving only the minimum permissions required for the task, not more, not less. For example, if a Lambda function only needs to read file from S3 bucket, we should not give S3 full access. Many beginners think if I give full access, my code will never break. This mindset is bad because it increases security risk. In the real production system, every extra permission is a potential vulnerability. So let's look into why it matters the most. In real companies, least privilege it's not optional, it's mandatory. Imagine an attacker somehow get access to your IAM role. If you use full access, they could delete your S3 data, modify DynamoDB tables, or even shut down the infrastructure. But if you use least privilege, the attacker can only do the things the role was allowed to do, which limits the damage. This is also required for security audits, compliance standard, and cloud governance in large organizations. Now, let's look into some examples with Lambda and S3 bucket. Beginners usually attach Amazon S3 full access to Lambda function because it is easy and fast. They think if something fails, I will just add more permissions. But in production, this is unacceptable. If Lambda only needs to read files, we should strictly allow only S3 get object. This is exactly what interviewers expect when they ask about AWS security best practices. This policy is a clean example of least privilege. We are not allowing all S3 actions. We are allowing only get object. We are also restricting access to a specific bucket, not all the buckets in AWS. This shows that we understand both action level and resource level security, which is very important in interviews. In cross account access, least privilege still applies. Many people make a big mistake. They trust entire account A from account B. Instead, we should trust only specific IAM roles in account A that actually needs the access. This reduces the risk because if someone creates another role in account A, they still don't have permissions to access account B's S3 bucket. Never use wildcard trust in production bucket policies. Using principal as star means anyone in AWS could potentially access your S3 bucket if other condition matches. Instead, always specify exactly which IAM role or account is allowed. This is classic AWS interview question which is generally asked. If an interviewer asks me how I design permissions, I say this clearly. I always follow least privilege, avoid full access policies, and grant access only to specific resources. I prefer IAM roles over access keys because roles provide temporary credentials and are much more secure. If you master least privilege, you are already ahead of 90% of AWS candidates. Security is what separates beginners from real cloud engineers. If this video helped you, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and comment your doubts. I'll see you in the next AWS interview question.